How do we use the STAR method? The STAR method allows you to differentiate yourself when you find yourself in a pool of qualified candidates competing for limited spots. The structure allows you to use historical information to prove what you have done and to prove that you have superior skills. In other words, it avoids you having to state that you're great and gives you the structure to demonstrate that you're great. Let's see how. So when we're using the STAR technique to demonstrate exceptionalism, we're going to make sure we go through the situation, we briefly explain the situation to give context, we describe our role, we describe the tasks that need to be done. We are also going to make sure we describe any targets we've set for ourselves over above this task that were prescribed. We're going to look at the actions, explain exactly what we did, and if there's anything we didn't do, which is important, make sure we state that as well. And then we're going to talk about the results. We're going to describe what the outcomes were as a result of our own actions, what our overall contribution was to the results. And the results here will also include recognition and, in particular, lessons learned. That's going to be important. That's the baseline when we're talking about demonstrating exceptionalism. That's how we use STAR standard. If you want to make sure that you are exceptional at using this method, then you're going to need to go a little bit further. And when we are thinking about STAR, you need to begin to think, what is the objective? So first, what is the purpose of this interview? So let's say I'm desirable of becoming a registered practical nurse or a project manager. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the research. I'm going to look at these job descriptions. I'm going to see what is it that they desire in these roles. I'm going to know that language and I'm going to be able to incorporate it in the responses that I give in an interview like this. So when I'm asked a question, I'm going to have this information at my disposal. I'm not going to assume that what I have and what I'm prepared to say is what will be necessary to get the job done. I'm going to do my research. Exceptionalism means going beyond the call of duty, and research requires you to go that extra mile. If you want to take the STAR method to the next level, make sure you research job descriptions in your field and take down all of the important information that you learn so that you can apply it when you're responding. The second thing to do is to reflect on your own background and think about what skills do you have that are relevant? What experiences do you have that are relevant? Whether they're volunteer experiences, professional experiences, or personal experiences, could they be applicable here? And this is the most crucial. When we're talking about exceptionalism, we're talking about intersectionality. And that means you have done the research, you know what skills are desired by this particular field that you're interested in. You know also because you spend the time to brainstorm. You've talked to people and say, what do you think are my best strengths? What are my greatest skills? You have a list of these two, what's required by the career, as well as what you have. In the middle, at the point of intersection, you're going to be highlighting the skills that are desired and that you possess. And these are the skills that you will need to highlight when you provide a STAR response. When you have skills that intersect with the skills that are desired, you will find that you do not need to state anything. You'll have opportunities to demonstrate, and you will be honest. And honesty is an important part of using this methodology. So now let's take a look at what we need to do, exactly how we go in and demonstrate our exceptionalism. Know your 333. When I say know your 333, what I mean is know your 3 values, your 3 strengths, and your 3 areas for improvement. And I don't mean create a list of them. We've done that already. What we mean here is have a STAR structured response using your 3 values, 3 strengths, and 3 areas for improvement ready to go. You know what your 3 values are. You know what situation you're going to use to exemplify those values. You know what tasks you had when those values came into play. You know what actions you took to support those values, or what actions you did not take because they did not support those values. And you know what the results were, and you know what lessons you learned. That's what we mean when we say know your 333. Having all the information that you would need to construct a proper STAR response in an interview situation, having it, creating it, and knowing it in advance. Same thing for your strengths, and same thing for your areas for improvement. I use the language areas for improvement instead of a weakness because we're not here to prove what we're weak on, because no one wants to know that you're very weak. What we want to know is that you recognize areas that you need to improve and you're actively working on them. So in this situation, you're really talking about areas being improved. That means I've already done my self-assessment. I know what I need to work on. I have looked at the job description. I know what strengths I need. I know the areas that I need to work on, and I am working on them. Here are the steps that I am taking now to improve in these areas. That is active management of self, and that is what is desirable, and that's what is exceptional, and that's what you want to prove. In demonstrating your 333, remember what we said. You must have these stories known long before an interview is required. That means we're practicing now. We're gaining confidence. We're able to link our stories to make them relevant. So if you're interested in becoming a project manager, you need to be able to link your values to the role of project manager. If you're interested in becoming a registered practical nurse or a paramedic, you need to be able to link your stories, your values, your strengths, your areas for improvement to the role that you're going to play. That's how you show that you're a star. And when you're required to prove something, when you're required to give evidence, think of a sociological term called triangulation. This concept says when you put something to stand, it needs 3 legs to be solid. So you wouldn't put a stool or a chair with just 2 legs. So we're using 333, providing 3 examples, giving it 3 legs to make it solid. And think about this concept when you think about exceptionalism, providing examples that are so solid they can stand on their own. Make it 3, make it strong, make it triangulate. You now know how to use the STAR method. Take time to practice. Thank you, I'm Michelle Shaw.